Today on the show, I am going to share with you 15 things you need to hear in your career at least once, but probably some of these you need to hear on repeat until it sinks in. And so I just want to sit down with you or join you on your drive to work or join you on the train or join you as you're walking or wherever you are, you and me, and I'm just going to share 15 things that I think you need to hear. And some of these will really land and some of them you'll need to come back to at a later date. But what I want to do is I just want to share some things that I just think are so important for you to hear. Some of these are really like, I don't know, like if you can get it, oh my gosh, it can change so much. And I think in the lead up to a new year, these 15 things are really profound. So what I want you to do for me as we go, I want you to share with me on LinkedIn or on Instagram. You can look up Bold Side and find us. Share with me which one resonates with you the most. These are things that I've been really thinking about. I've been trying to track all the common themes I've heard over the year that I think, you know what, people just need to get this because it's, I don't know, so much of what stops us in our career is us. And so this is for you. I hope it's a gift, and I think it will be.
This is a podcast about making work work. You'll learn about leadership, career growth, and how to navigate those weird work challenges. I run a HR consulting business called Bold Side, where I help leaders build epic team cultures. If you lead a team or run a business and you think I can help, let's connect on LinkedIn. My name is Shelley Johnson, and this is Work.
Okay, number one. The thing you need to hear in your career is you haven't missed the moment. Gosh, oh my gosh. I'm thinking of this, a few people, their faces are in my mind. I'm closing my eyes as I'm doing this because I'm talking to you and I hope you know this is you. And you think you've missed the moment. You're like, oh, I should have done that a few years ago. I've missed the moment. I can't do that now. And you think, it's passed me by. I can't. I've let that go too long. And Steph Clark would refer to this as the sunk cost fallacy, where you think, well, I've put too much effort in this and I can't change or I can't go do that thing now. And maybe it's going for the promotion. Maybe it's starting your own business. Maybe it's taking a big risk, whatever that is. And you just feel yourself telling yourself, I've missed my moment and now I'm stuck. Well, you know what? You haven't. And moments come up and come up and come up time and time again. And I think the thing with moments is that they can be quite way more frequent than we realize. And so we think, well, if that moment has passed, none, and the next one, gosh, can I talk today? No, I can't. It's the end of the year. That's what I'm going to blame it on. If the moment has passed, we think, well, no other moment will come up. And I kind of think about this in a similar way to ideas. There is an abundance of ideas, and in the same way, there is an abundance of moments, and you have not missed your moment. There are way more moments than you realize. So just being able to say to yourself, you know what, I haven't missed that moment. Keep going. And the more we say to ourselves, I have missed my moment, the more we are in a scarcity kind of mindset, and the more we're not noticing these beautiful moments that are popping up for us, the beautiful opportunities. Gosh, how many times have I said moments already? I'm telling you, you haven't missed it. And so I want you to switch your mindset to going, just like when it comes to creative ideas, there is an infinite number of moments that can come up for people. And so being able to go, I'm going to be open to the next one, rather than just having my blinkers on and saying, you know what, that's past. And I'm stuck now. You're not. Keep going. Number two, being interested in people is far more valuable than being interesting to people. I'm just going to say that again for the sake of clarity. Gosh, I am on a roll today. Let me say this properly. I've got my little sheet here. You can hear it. Being interested in people is far more valuable than being interesting to people. I think we feel we need to be interesting. I'm not interesting enough. I'm not this. I'm not memorable enough. Well, actually, you know what? The best people are the ones who are interested in others. So what I want you to think about, instead of getting caught up in your head of going, am I charismatic enough? Am I interesting enough? Am I memorable enough? Hey, Be interested in people. Be genuinely curious. Look out for those people and go, you know what? How do I engage in this conversation? How do I be present for this person? And I think in a world of like manic pace, frantic energy, presence is such a gift. Being present, showing up in a way that you're like, you know what? I'm here. I'm not looking over my shoulder for the next person to come along. I'm not trying to, own all the attention in the moment. I'm actually trying to be present with you, be interested in you. That is actually the thing that makes you interesting. So that's point number 2. Number 3, leaders carry an unseen weight. And this is the thing with weight. If you carry any kind of weight, like if you're, doing any form of strength training or whatever, you can't carry a weight forever on your own. And I think leadership has such an unseen weight that people don't get. It's like you've got permanently this invisible backpack full of dumbbells, and you're carrying it around. No one sees it. And so no one recognizes the toll that it takes. And you can't carry that weight forever on your own. It has to be shared. And so what I want you to do, if you're in a leadership role and you feel, as you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, I feel weighed down. I feel really tired. If that's you, it is so important. I can't overstate this. You have to find people to share that weight with. So I think the key thing is finding a mentor or a couple of mentors, finding people who get it, to be like, hey, this is what I'm carrying. And I remember back when I was working in an internal HR role, this psychologist came in and he talked about traveling light. And it was this idea of it's easy to travel heavy. It's easy to have most people in a leadership position feel the weight they carry it. But you, in order to do it sustainably in the long term, you have to find a way to travel light. And the way that we do it is in connection with other people, in sharing some of that load. And so it's not a load that it's not a weight that you can share with everyone, because some people, they either don't get it or it's not appropriate to share for whatever reason. But I want you to find a mentor who gets it, that you can share the weight of what you're carrying, because it is unseen, it is invisible, and it is tiring. And so I just want to say that to you. Do everything you can to find support if you're in a leadership role. Number 4, to do your best work, you need to become your best self. You are one of one. Someone said that to me the other day, and I thought, gee, I love that language. You're one of one. When you see those artworks and it has a little number down the bottom of how many times, if it's a print, it'll have how many times it's been printed, and it might be 1 of 50 or 1 of 25. And the less there are, the more expensive they are. And the ones that are the most expensive and the most valuable are when it's 1 of 1. There's no imitation. There's no replication. It is 1 of 1. You will, this is the only place you're going to see this artwork. And you are that. You are 1 of 1. You don't need to imitate someone else. You don't need to compare yourself to someone else, because there is no one else like you. And I think the thing we need to remind ourselves of sometimes is that to do our best work, we have to become our best self. And your best self is where, if you can get into that zone and operate in that zone for, a fair bit of your time. No, we're not always going to show up as our best selves, but for a decent proportion of your time, if you can show up in that way, that is when you're going to have the best impact. And I think a few people listening who feel like they either have to tone themselves down to fit in, or they have to change who they are to imitate someone else, I would just say to you that the goal isn't to become someone else. The goal is to become your best self. And so one of the ways you can do this is you can think about, when I do my best work, what are the conditions that help me to get into that zone? What are the things that come, like the precursor to me doing my best work. What does me at my best actually look like? Get specific. When I'm doing my best work, what does it look like? When I'm showing up as my best self, what does that look like? Detail it out. Like for me, I've realized and this doesn't work for everyone, but I think my best self is quite self-deprecating. Like not to the point of like undermining the value that I bring, but I'm like, I like to rip off myself. Is that even the way you say it? I like to laugh at myself. I think that's part of me being who I am. And I know some people would say, Shell, don't be self-deprecating because it lowers your credibility. And I'm like, no, you know what? I like it. And I think that is who I am. And I enjoy laughing at myself and ripping myself off. It's why I tell some like of those weird stories of when I've had massive failure. And I think it's relatable. And so I guess I say this, not every piece of advice that someone shares with you makes you your best self. Like if someone said never ever share those embarrassing stories, I'd be like, that's cool for you. I'm not doing that because I know that's actually part of what makes me me, and I'm part of my best self is like learning from those hilarious moments and sharing them with people, and I will not do that. And so I want to say that you need to find what you look like at your best self. And so for me, I know that self-deprecation is part of that, as well as being like technically good at what I do. That's also a big part of it. But do you know what I mean? Like find when you're like, I'm in my sweet spot, this is what that looks like. So if you feel like you're watering yourself down, you're toning yourself down, you need to imitate someone else, I just want to say to do your best work, you have to become your best self, and you are one of one. You are not one of 50, you're not one of 25, you're not one of 100, you're one of one. And being more you and becoming more you is the way to do your best work. Number 5, effortlessness is BS. It's rubbish, and trying hard is hot. God, when people say when anyone says, they just make that look so effortless. I'm always like, well, that's great, but I can tell you now, they tried hard for a long time before it looked effortless. Trying hard is hot. Like if you have to try hard at something, if you have to show a stack of effort, if it takes huge amounts of effort, that's hot. Try hard. Like just keep trying hard. Try harder. I just think effortlessness is rubbish. It's just a load of crap. And so that's all I'm going to say on that. Now, can you tell it's the end of the year? At the time of this recording, it's the end of the year because I think I've gotten, the closer we get to December, like the end of December, the more blunt I get. Yeah. Okay, number 6. The single biggest influence on your career is you, not your boss, not your organization, it is you. And that is a really good thing. So if you're having problems in your career, you've got to look in the mirror before you look out there. You've got to eyeball, okay, I'm the biggest factor here. If I'm not liking where things are at, I have to confront the pain points. The pain points are likely me. And so just being able to and being prepared to look in the mirror and say, okay, what isn't working about how I'm doing this? It's easy sometimes when things are not going well to look outwards, to look at the external factors or look at other people. But one thing that I think really successful people do throughout their career is that they look in the mirror first before they look at anyone else. So you are the biggest influence on your career. And that is a good thing. It means if it's not working, you get to change it. Okay, number 7. Your beliefs. Oh my gosh, this is really important. I'm just reading it thinking, oh, this is really important. Okay. Your beliefs will either block or build your career. But most people, oh my gosh, so many people overlook the importance of what they believe. And so when I say your beliefs, I'm not talking about like your religious beliefs or your social beliefs or any of that. I'm talking about your self-belief. Like, what do you believe about yourself? I think Matt Church, he says, how does he say it? I'm going to butcher this. I can tell. He says, the story you tell yourself about yourself. That's your belief. What story am I telling myself about myself? Because that story will either block or build your career. But the thing is, most people don't even know the story they're telling themselves about themselves. They don't even pay attention because, and there's a few reasons. One, self-reflection is actually a muscle that is painful to activate. And so we don't activate it enough. So there's that. The other reason why people don't notice their beliefs is they're so deeply ingrained that we see them as fact. And belief, the power of belief is that they can become fact and they become self-fulfilling. And this is not some like manifesty stuff. Like, I'm not talking about that. It's just the power of your self-talk. So I would love you to find some margin and try to capture, in Matt Church's beautiful words, what is the story I'm telling myself about myself? And one thing I've been saying actually in meetings lately, I just had a meeting this morning where I said this. I said, the story I'm telling myself about this situation is XYZ. And I found it really helpful because what that's saying is I'm actually calling it a story. And by calling it a story, it's a narrative. The thing with stories, we know there's fiction and non-fiction when it comes to stories. So some of the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, God, this is hard to say, like it's a mouthful. Some of the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves is just fiction and terrible fiction, like not the good kind of fiction, like the romanticies that everyone's into. It's like the bad fiction where we're just like, this is just, again, a load of rubbish, but for whatever reason, it's become an ingrained belief. And because it's become an ingrained belief, it is blocking my career. Now, on the flip side, it is also true. So your negative self-talk and beliefs will block your career. But the inverse of this, the belief you have about yourself that's positive, that's affirming, that's optimistic, will also shape and build your career in positive and profound ways. So listen to those beliefs. Oh my gosh, I hope you're going to be gracious with me today because I'm like, listen to your beliefs. The joys. Joys, I mean, yes. So essentially you need, I can't get past that. You need to listen to your beliefs. You get what I mean. I think as well, the thing with belief systems is they can change. And you can't change them though unless you're intentional about noticing them in the first place and then going, okay, well, what would I like to replace that belief with? So if I show up in a meeting and I think, I can't speak up here, my voice isn't valued here, I can't speak up, I don't have anything good to say. Well, we need to replace that belief. And the way that we do it is we have to first notice what's going on and then we have to go, okay, what else might be true? What else might be true here? And what else might be true is that your voice in that space, in that meeting room, you have an idea because you are one of one that no one else has that might just change the course of that meeting. So say the damn thing. That wasn't on my list of things you need to hear in your career, but we should add it in. So maybe it needs to be 16 things you hear and the last one is say the damn thing appropriately and not in an obnoxious way like I am. Okay, where are we at? Number 7. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and when we come back, we're going to go through our last ones. And I can tell you now, they get better as we go. Listen to my paper and I swear this paper is it is really good. I believe in the next things I'm going to share with you.
Do you want to grow in your career? Are you after a fresh start or some inspiration? Or perhaps you're in a career crisis? The book Sort Your Career Out and Make More Money by Shelley Johnson and Glenn James is such a great resource at any stage in your career. It will give you practical strategies for things like getting a promotion, making more money, moving into a leadership role, taking career risks, or if it's time to quit your job, and so much more. You can find Sort Your Career Out and Make More Money wherever good books are sold or via the link in the podcast show notes. It's also available as an audiobook.
Okay, number 8. The single biggest risk in your career isn't failure, it is comfort. And so as you're hearing this, I hope you're getting uncomfortable with me. Comfort is the single biggest risk to your career. And actually, we did our People and Culture Unconference with a whole heap of HR leaders from all over Australia. Everyone met in Brisbane and we ran sessions on building your personal brand, on influencing executive and the board. We did a session on AI and Adrian Smith, who is the CEO of Run Go for an AI business, he's been on the pod before and we love him. He said this amazing thing. He said, if Einstein was here today, instead of saying insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, he would say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results. Essentially, he was saying that the world's changing so fast that if you don't change with it, the results you're getting will all of a sudden stop generating those same outcomes. I'm butchering this. I'm saying this in a really, he's so amazingly smart and glorious at the way he communicates. We'll get him on the pod to dig into this more. But I guess I say all that to say comfort is the single biggest risk to your career. What I want you to do, if you think about the next 12 months, what that looks like, put in place things that are uncomfortable. Put things in place that challenge you, that stretch you, that make you feel terrified, because that's where the biggest growth comes from. And I think that if you're failing, you are learning by default. Like if you're having those fails, you then use them to learn from them. And I think that goes to, we don't learn much from success, but we learn a heck of a lot from failure. And our biggest fails are the biggest catalyst for growth in our career. So I just want to say the enemy of your career growth is not failure. It is comfort. We need to avoid it at all costs. Which leads us into number 9. And this one, embarrassment is even worse than failure. I don't know, this is what people need to hear in their career. Embarrassment is even worse than failure, but it's the cost of entry to the next stage of your growth. I've learned, here we go. I'm learning to love embarrassing moments. Like I'm just learning to love them, because if I'm regularly failing and regularly embarrassing myself, I feel like I must be growing. But if those things aren't happening, then it's likely that I'm back in that comfort zone. I'll just say a couple of things on the difference between failure and embarrassment, because I think you need both. Failure is not the same as embarrassment. You can fail in private and then you can learn in private, which is, in my opinion, heaps more appealing than embarrassment. Embarrassment always has an element of publicness to it. I don't think publicness is a word, but go with me. So embarrassment messes with your ego, and it's like the cringiness of like the public version of failure. So that's what I think about when I think of embarrassment. It's how you feel knowing that people watch on as you just inevitably screw things up. And I want you to learn to embrace those moments, because I think the cool thing about it is you can fail in private and learn from it. But when you're really out of your comfort zone, there is going to be an element of like publicness. It's like you're failing in public, which has a level of humiliation and embarrassment to it. But I want you to learn to laugh about it and embrace those moments, because it's good for you. And you know what? It's kind of why we like seeing the blooper reel. We like seeing people's outtakes, because it makes them heaps more relatable. And that's partly why we're not going to edit this podcast very much, because it's got heaps of weird things that happened and talking failures. But do you know what I mean? Like, we love the blooper reel because we're like, oh, you do this too. Like, you stuff it up. And that makes me feel good knowing that about you. And so embarrassment is also hot. Trying hard's hot. Embarrassment's hot. I know I've said that a fair few times on the podcast this year, but you know what? It bears repeating. Okay, number 10. Nothing worth doing is easy. If it's tough, if it's painful, if it takes a shitload of effort, it is worthwhile. Excuse my language. If it's difficult, it's probably worthwhile. So that's all I'll say on that. Number 11, I believe we're up to. Invest in a good pen. You will not regret it. Hey, I just have to say, a good pen, no, people do not talk about a good pen enough. Like I have so many crappy pens, and I just want to say, if you invest in a good pen, you will be so happy. Just the little things, like, sparking joy. And that is, I'm writing with one of these pens right now. And I'll tell you, this pen I've stolen from Glenn, who runs this podcast studio, because it is a good pen. He does invest in good pens. So invest in a good pen or steal one from a coworker. That's another hot tip for you to add. Okay, number 12. Show up to a meeting with a notepad and pen instead of your laptop. Go analog, hard copy. Like seriously, I find it very difficult to multitask. I don't really believe in multitasking. I don't think we can multitask. And so I love when people come to meetings and they just have a notepad and pen and then take a photo of it and upload it to ChatGPT to automate that last process. But like there is something I was talking, actually, we were running a workshop with a amazing client in Brisbane this week. We did a 2-day leadership immersive experience. It was really, really powerful. And I was talking with one of their HR business partners about the power of writing by hand, because when you're learning and you're in this process of learning and consuming information and you're trying to keep track of it, translating what's being spoken and writing it down in your own words helps it to get into your memory. Rather than just sitting there and seeing yourself as a consumer of content, the power of taking notes, personally interpreting what's happening, and then writing it down and getting pen, if you're a lefty, all over your hand, which right now I have like blue pen all up my arm. Writing it down helps it to become more memorable to you. And so, you know what? I think showing up with a notepad and pen is good, as long as the pen's good. Hard copy, baby. All right, where are we at? Number 13. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Rumination is not the same as reflection. Rumination is not the same as reflection. So self-reflection, the ability to reflect and then, I guess, take the learning from it. So let's say you have a failure, you stuff up something in a presentation and you're like, oh, crap, that did not go well. Going back and playing it back, okay, what happened? Like do a postmortem on it, analyze what happened and why. And then go, okay, well, what's the learning in it and moving forward? I worked with a team and they said they would, anytime there was a failure, what they do is they get the whole team together, they debrief it in detail, like very detailed debriefs. And then once they've done that and they've all identified all the learnings, they don't bring it up again. And one of the key things that that team taught me is that it's like watching back the game tape after let's say for a sporting team, after they've played on the weekend, they get in on Tuesday morning or Monday morning and they all get into the room, they watch back the game tape and they analyse what worked, what didn't, all the fails, all the learnings, all the strengths. And then they take all those learnings, they all write it down and they don't bring it up again afterwards. They go, cool, I've learnt that from that. Now we have to move forward. Today is a new day. So they play it back once. They watch the game tape once. Now, I want you to think about that analogy of going, okay, I'm going to play it back once. I'm going to re-watch it once, and then I'm going to move forward. Rumination is different. Rumination isn't just playing it back once and taking the learnings. Rumination is replaying over and over and over. And I can tell right now there are a few of you, you're on the train, you're in the car, you're walking and nodding. You get me. Oh yeah, I do that. I play back my mistakes over and over. And do you know what that does? It freaking, aside from it being really painful, it ingrains that. And we talked up front about beliefs. It becomes a belief that anytime I do X, this is what happens. Because you've replayed it and you've rewatched the game tape. You've watched it over and over again. And if you don't figure out how to let it go and move forward, it is going to crush your soul. No, I mean, it's just going to hold you back, but it also may crush your soul. I mean, I'm speaking from experience here. Rumination, it's so bad. So we've got to find a way to go, I play it back once and then I'm moving forward. You know what I reckon a big key in this is? Laughing about it. If you can laugh about it, I reckon there's a big, I don't know, I have no science. I have no science qualifications at all. I have no research to back this up, what I'm about to say, but I just vibe it, so I'm just going to say it. I think laughing about stuff also helps with learning. Going, okay, yeah, that really sucked. What did I learn? Writing it down and then being able to go, like our team, we always say this thing, we're always like, well, and we use that is actually anytime anything hard happens or bad, we'll talk about it, we'll debrief it, we'll go into detail. And then at the end of it, we'll all it's become this really weird motto where we just go, oh, well, and that's our sign of we're moving on. Like, I'm moving on from this. We've talked about it and we've put it into a box of like, yep, we've learnt, and now we're just like moving forward. Another team I work with used one of our things. We use these ground rules in meetings. One of them's called ELMO, which stands for, it's an acronym. ELMO, it stands for enough, let's move on. And they call ELMO. Once they've reflected, they're like, okay, ELMO, move on. Just move on. So rumination is not moving on. Rumination is playing over and over. I think that was number 13. Okay. Number 14. A quick way to progress in your career is to make your boss's life easier. I want you to think about every day, how can I make my boss's life easier? It's not about sucking up. It's not about anything else other than sucking up. It's actually going, how can I make their life easier? Because if you want, can you hear my tummy rumbling? If you can, it was extremely loud and I'm really hungry. Where was I? Make your boss's life easier. Find ways, and little ways. Usually it's the little ways, but if you do that, seriously, you are going to progress in your career that much faster. It's not about people pleasing, but it is about just finding those little moments to add value. And I love a CEO we work with and have had the pleasure of working with. He often says, he has these 3 things that he says are the ways he wants to show up as a leader. And one of the ways he likes to show up, he likes to have fun, but he also said one of the ways he likes to show up is to add value. And so every meeting he's in, every interaction he's in, he's thinking, how am I adding value? And I think this is the same. Like, make your boss's life easier. And the way you do that is find ways to add value. Okay, number 15, the lucky last. And this is what I want to leave you with. Mediocrity wants you to tone down your strengths. It wants you to play small to fit in, but fitting in and playing small is boring and dull, and I don't want you to do it because you are anything but boring and dull. And if we go back to one of the top lines, you're one of one, which I got that idea from someone, I think it was my sister actually, she was talking about it, so credit to her, one of one. If you're one of one, don't tone down your strengths because again, those strengths are what help you to show up as your best self. And mediocrity is a pull. It's like this current that we get sucked into that wants us to play small, to tone down our strengths, to get into the comfort zone. And I want to tell you, don't do it. You're anything but boring and dull, and you can play big. And I want you to play big in 2026. And I also want to eat a snack because my stomach is rumbling again. I wish you could hear it. Actually, I'm glad you can't because absolutely no one wants to hear that. Okay. Hey, I want to say from like the deepest part of me, I am so grateful to you for listening, for however long you've listened, if it's like a couple of months, if it's a couple of weeks, if it's like, the year. I am so, so grateful to you for being part of this community. This has been one of the, doing this pod has been one of the highlights of my career. And I love knowing that it helps people and I love connecting with people. And so let's make sure we connect on LinkedIn. That is where I spend a bit of time, unfortunately, and or fortunately, as the case may be. If you got something out of this, I want you to message me. Which one resonated most with you? Which one did you feel like, oh my gosh, I really needed to hear that today? Please tell me. You can tell me on LinkedIn. You can tell me on Instagram. You'll find me at Boldside. If you enjoyed this episode, 2 things I want you to do. Share it with a friend who you think, oh my gosh, they need to hear this, and tell them which one they need to hear. Just be upfront, just be direct, say, hey, you need to hear this one. Trying hard is hot. Whatever one it is. And then I want you to do this other thing for me, please. Can you give us a rating on Spotify or Apple or both if you're on both? Because do you know what? I love positive feedback, but also it helps us get the pod out there. So thank you. And thank you for being part of this community. It's been such an amazing year. Love you. Bye.
If you have enjoyed the show today, forward it to a friend, colleague, or family member who you may think it would benefit. Shelley's business Boldside provides leadership training for a variety of different businesses. To learn more, visit boldside.com.au. If you would like to book Shelley to speak at one of your events, please reach out to the team via moneypodcast.com.au.